Actually, yes, it is, because more and more people are now going to feel it's all right to buy it because it's legal. Just like marijuana use. If we legalize marijuana, more and more people are going to want to legalize marijuana. More and more people are going to want to buy marijuana because it's legal.
False, right?
Huh?
You know that statistically that's false, right? For a number of reasons.
Statistically, that's false.
This is getting into a tangent, but it is an allegory. So when it comes, if you look at the Netherlands, right? The Netherlands legalized the consumption of marijuana, right? There was this drastic increase in consumption, like, I don't know, like a few percentage points, and then it went down. Then people got bored of it. Then it wasn't illegal anymore, so the cartels couldn't peddle their wares anymore. It was sold in storefronts. It wasn't sold on the streets. It wasn't sold to children. Honestly, if you also look at, you ask any high schooler, you can ask me this question. Mm-hmm. What is easier to get in high school, alcohol or weed? And everybody will say weed. Why? Because everybody knows somebody who grows, sells, or is involved in the manufacture and selling of weed.
Right.
Why? Because there is profit in it. There is a demand for it, and there is no supplier other than these illicit means. That means that it will go. And the idea that a prohibition on an immorality, that a prohibition on a lifestyle will decrease its acceptability, will decrease its popularity, or decrease its moral stature in the nation is absolutely ludicrous. And we can disagree on that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the listeners will agree with my point.
Well, see,
that
also,
it has shown that all that laws do, all that creating a law or creating a government statement against something does is make criminals and make our jails fill up.
Yes.
And the other thing I would like to ask, is the continuing thing. Why is it important to have a religious belief, a moral belief, impact our government? Because as I see it, our government needs to be a secular system.
Okay.
It needs to be blind to the beliefs of government because, justice is blind, and it needs to be equal. There needs to be equal protection under the laws for everybody of every creed, every religion, and every race, right?
Okay, right. But I'm going to tell you, it is because, again, if you say that why should the government decide what is moral and what is not moral? Because if we allow, I'll say it again, if we allow immorality into this country, we will see a decrease in the morals of our citizens. We'll see a decrease in our social. And not only this, I'm going to tell you, again, homosexuality is not a natural way to have sex. You cannot reproduce with it. You can get diseases from it. It is not a natural way. And that's why it's wrong.
Well, that's an interesting idea that there's two interesting ideas there that I take offense to. The first one is that something is wrong because it cannot produce children. What about marriages of elderly people who, like a woman who is past menopause? She can't produce a child. Is that wrong? Or what about contraception? Is that wrong? Just as a blanket?
It's the natural way. It's the natural way. Contraception. Some people are against contraception. That's a debatable issue. We're not going to go there on this program because we don't have enough time. But I'm going to tell you, one of the people in the chat room, I'd just like to ask. I'd just like to reply this. They ask, "What is immoral with homosexuality?" I'm going to tell you how it originated. It's a perverted way to have sex. They started having feelings for the same gender, and they decided to participate in it. That's how it started, and it's perverted.
Well, the debate always comes back down to this singular talking point of the creation of children, right? And I understand you don't want to talk about contraception, but what about talking about postmenopause? Or what about talking about surrogacy? Is that okay? What about talking about raising children in an adoptive home? Is that okay? That is still the raising of a child. That is still producing for the society at large. Why is it seen that this lifestyle is illegitimate because of such a passé, unreliable, unabsolute as childbirthing. I mean, if that's your only basis for morality, then having doing the same action that a man would to another man in a heterosexual relationship, I'm trying to avoid saying that word, it would be just as immoral as homosexuality itself. But it's not. I mean, that seems perfectly fine as long as it's within a consensual marriage. And why is that? Why do we have this stigma against a man marrying a man? It is simply a social construct. I mean, the next step is to say that we have the slippery slope argument. And they used that same thing when they didn't want interracial marriages back in the 50s. And their argument was, we'll let interracial marriages happen and then the gays will want to marry. And I guess that's happening. So you can say the slippery slope argument is true, but at the same time, isn't that a good thing that we have more freedom? Well,
I'll tell you, freedom. You could legalize everything. You could legalize murder. You could legalize the use of marijuana. See people start developing cancer. 75% more risk of having cancer if we legalize marijuana, and then more people would be consuming it. The number one thing in my school is alcohol that you could get. You could definitely get that because it's available and it's legal. Now, I'm going to tell you this as well. What I'm also going to tell you is Christianity. Christianity is the number one belief here in America. It's the majority. It is 85% of the American population are Christians. Now, we're not saying that you cannot have sexual intercourse with the same gender, but we are saying that we will not allow same-sex marriage. Why homosexuals like yourself, I believe, are you homosexual?
No, sir. I consider myself pansexual, which means I derive sexual attraction from the emotional connection I have with the other person.
Say what?
It's interesting, I know, but it's just my personal philosophy.
Okay. Well, anyway, homosexuals. I'll tell you this. Homosexual. I have with the homosexuals wanting to get married, with them wanting to start having these marriages in churches. The reason why they are wanting to do this is because they want to receive the same benefits that that a man and a woman would get. They want to get tax deductions. They want to get all this. They want to get all that. And it's not a natural way. It's not a natural way.
Well, neither are tax deductions. Those aren't natural.
Right. Well, if you get
aren't found in nature either.
Well, right. What does that have to do with anything? If you get married, you get a tax deduction, and they're wanting to be treated the same way as a man and a woman. And when it's not a normal way,
why shouldn't?
If we go to be
homosexuals get? I mean, you straight people are messing that up already. You're getting married and divorced at a faster rate. You don't have to have homosexual marriage messing with that.
Did I say I'm against? Did I say I'm for people getting divorced? No, but I'm going to tell you. If what was I going to tell you? Forgot what I was going to say now.
That you're going to say that if homosexuals marry, that there will be a drastic increase in the divorce rate? Because
no, I'm not saying that.
If 1% of 10% who want to marry get married, then we'll see a drastic influx in the divorces. That's just statistically impossible.
I wasn't going to say that, sir. You're putting words in my mouth that I did not say. But with homosexuality, with it being legalized,
a little bit. We're kind of off.
We're getting back. Okay, what's the next question you're wanting to ask me?
Well, we were kind of going on to the idea. You were using the talking point of homosexuals only want this for the benefits because getting married is such a benefit. Well, the question is why is it bad if a heterosexual couple wants to get married just for the benefits? I mean, that might happen, right? And it might happen that a homosexual marriage might just get married because they want to have a lifestyle in which they can feel protected and accepted in their legal society. Not the religious society, not the social society, because I don't think you need to be accepted in those. That's a matter of opinion. But when it comes to the legal society, why should someone not want to be protected? Why should someone not be able to get that protection?
Okay, here's what I'm going to...
Even if they're only doing it for that.
Well, here's what I'm going to ask you. I'm going to move on to another question. I'm going to ask you this. up in Canada, there are people that are starting bestiality movements. They want bestiality legalized. Do you think it should be legalized?
Do I think bestiality should
be legalized? Right.
Do I think that that a man and a dog marriage should be all right? No, because a dog can't sign a contract. That's ridiculous. A dog isn't a sentient being.
But what? Right. But we'll find ways. We'll find ways for people to work that out. Put their paw print on a contract. It's stupid, but
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The idea that you can. Okay.
We're not getting into bestiality marriages, but do you think that it should be legal for people to have those type of relations with animals?
A relation with an animal?
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't like animal cruelty. I don't think that you should ever do anything to an animal that would harm its being, its psychological.
Would it harm
it? Its psychological position. I don't know what you would call it, but its disposition and its life.
Right, and not only that, it's not natural.
And personally, I don't think that a relationship between a man and an animal can have the proper dynamic in which there is a healthy exchange of ideas and emotions. But that is because dogs are not sentient beings.
And not only that,
a man is a sentient being, and a man is a sentient being. And who am I to be able to tell them that they can't have a proper exchange of emotions and sentient feelings?
But what?
How am I supposed to know?
All right. What if we do this though? Let's say we did legalize it. It's not natural, but let's say we legalize it. Now, what happens is, let's legalize bestiality marriage, because I believe that they have in a couple countries. Or say it's with an ape. Say it's with an ape. If you get into that type of relationship, then you want tax deduction. It's not. They've done it before.
All right. Hypothetical question.
Okay.
If they can create a dolphin or an animal or a dog or something that has the emotional complexities, the sentient awareness, the cognitive abilities of a human being, would I try to get into a relationship with one? I have no idea, because I've never met one and I'm not likely to meet one.
Right.
But hypothetically, maybe. But that's because it would have a sentient
But here's my
soul.
Point. Here's my point.
Here's the question.
What?
Here's the question.
What?
Why are we equating these two probabilities?
Well, I'll tell you why.
A man is a human, American, citizen, sentient, emotionally stable human being who is of sound mind, who can sign a contract with legal benefits and legal ties.
Right.
How is that in any way related to an animal?
Here's how it's related.
It simply isn't.
Here's how it's related. It's because both ways are not natural. This is where I'm coming from. If you have sex with a man, if you have sex with a person of the same gender, it's not a natural way. It is lustful, and it is immoral. If you go...
Why is it... Well, what basis are you taking that from?
What basis am I taking that from?
Yeah,
common sense.
What's your source?
Common sense.
That's from the Bible, right?
From the Bible, common sense, the average right and wrong that your parents are supposed to teach you.
Right. So there are three things. There are three sources. You have a religious source, right, which should not have any impact on the government and should not have any impact on the law, because we have a secular government which accepts all religions, all creeds, and all beliefs. Then you have a parenting source, which should not have any impact on the law, because parenting is a relationship between the parent and child. You cannot tell a parent how to raise his own child.
But see, normally...
And the idea that the law...
All right, now you're getting out of hand, sir. Please don't raise your voice at me.
I'll be quiet.
Don't raise your voice at me. Now...
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding on a tangent. I love these talks.
Have you ever... I do too. Have you ever... did you watch that video that was on YouTube?
Did I watch
a video that was on YouTube of a kid that was singing a song, "There Ain't Gonna Be Any Homos in Heaven"?
No, I didn't.
Have you seen that video? Okay.
Nope.
Well, anyway, there's this video on there of this kid singing a song in church. And this is how. This is why a whole bunch of you guys are calling in.